Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well today as we get into an extremely vital preview. Atalanta versus Chelsea in the Champions League off the back of two winless games, the loss to Leeds, the draw that we recently had to Bournemouth away at the Vitality. And this is one where we need to pick our form back. It's as simple as that. Now, a few things before we get up and running. We are going into this game on shootout along with all the other English teams tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed over there to catch the preview for the Champions League this midweek. And also head over there to catch what was uploaded today. You got a double upload on there. What was the double upload? You got the Mo Salah debate between me and George on what is going on with Mohamed Salah at Liverpool, which we now have some confirmation on anyway. I'll get into that shortly. And also the Premier League Roundup. So go and have a butcher's and enjoy. You're going to want to watch that, trust me, because guess what? I won again. Anyway. Sorry, George. Anyway, let's get cracking. Let's start with the news. Let's start with the news because I want to show you a few things before we get into the preview itself. There's a few things that's happened that I think deserve some attention. Now, Mo Salah is out of the Liverpool squad for this Champions League game against Inter Milan. He's not going to be featuring. He's not travelling. He's left out. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But how far is this going to go is the question. Is he out indefinitely? Is he going to come back in? Is he not? We don't know. We don't know. So there's that. Now, that's the Liverpool front. On the Chelsea front, Cole Palmer is not involved in training today. So, Cole Palmer not involved in training. There is no injury. It is just part of his return process and he will be ready to face Everton on Sunday. So, that is something to pay attention to. And that's the Mo Salah news as well that I just spoke about to you guys. There we are, in terms of him being left out of the squad. Now, Cole Palmer is out for this game. But he's okay. Let's be honest. Against Bournemouth, he was poor. Now, everyone was poor. But Palmer, and what we know he can do on the ball, was like, brother, have you forgotten how to pass a ball? You know, like, so, okay. If he's out for this, he's going to be ready for Everton. Maybe it's a matter of, what? It doesn't look like a matter of fitness, but he didn't look sharp at all. He looked very, very rusty. Very rusty. So, okay, maybe he needs that extra little bit of time. We'll be able to do without him tomorrow, I think. Bring Everton on. He'll be ready. Now, off the back of the Delap injury, we have news on what Chelsea could do. So, here it is. So, Chelsea are not looking at accelerating Emmanuel Mega's arrival from Strasbourg this January, despite Liam Delap's new injury. Omega joining Chelsea next summer. There we are. So, we are not going to be relying on Omega. That's not happening at all. And it's been made public that the options for Maresca right now are simply these guys. Maresca, striker options for the time being will be Gu, João Pedro, and Pedro Neto. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. There we are. So, we spoke about it yesterday. You can go and have a butcher's. I did also do a video over on George's channel. So you can go over to his channel and check out what was uploaded earlier today, right? Where we went into detail about Chelsea's recent form and what exactly needs to change. So go and have a look. I won't say more. But the striker situation and the consequence of not being able to get them going was a big debate there. But those are our striker options. We haven't got anyone else to turn to. Simply as. We've got those guys. So, when we talk about the preview to this game, everyone else is available. Everyone is fit. We do have one player that has returned, and that is Caicedo. He's back because he's not suspended in the Champions League, so he'll be able to play. And we will definitely need him. Atalanta are a weird team. Yeah, weird team. Because Atalanta, in terms of how they've fared in European football as of late, has been pretty good. Right? Pretty good. But currently, in Serie A, they sit 12th. They're having a horrid time in Italy at the moment. Not good at all. With Chelsea, at the moment, we have an issue when it comes to the so-called smaller teams. Now, Atalanta at face value don't seem like a small team. But Chelsea do have their fate in their hands, right? It's in our control. We are top 8 at the moment. We just need to win our games and we will finish top 8 in the Champions League, which means we won't have to play a playoff, which means that we won't have to play 2 extra matches, which would be fantastic for the squad. So we need to finish top 8. But it comes from winning these sort of games. Now, like I've said, Atalanta, I think will take seriously, and I think many people are taking seriously, but right now they are not playing well. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to go into this game like we normally do when we play the big teams? Or are we going into this game normally like we do when we play the smaller teams? What are we going to get? Because they seem like a team that are big enough, but they've been playing like a very small team lately. So is it Charity FC extended into Europe? Or is it let's get ourselves together and start playing seriously again, please? Because the Bournemouth game, and I've gone into detail on it yesterday and since the game itself on the issues that we are seeing. We need to stop being so reactive to the opposition that we are playing. In the big games, I understand it. Because you know exactly what you're coming up against. And your aim is to break their system down because that is how you nullify them, right? That makes complete sense. But you don't try and break the system down of, quote unquote, Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? We should just have enough quality in our team to be able to impose our system and how we want to play. And we should just be too much for them. Simple as that. But it does feel like at times we play a little slow, a little reserved. We take our time. We like possession. When there are opportunities to pass into certain pockets and spaces, it's there. We don't do it. We take our time and we go round. And I feel like in those moments is where you can make or break, and we choose to make it harder for ourselves. Now, when you're facing the bigger teams, you know that they are coming with a certain system and taking a certain initiative. So if you nullify them, you know exactly where you're going to exploit. But the other teams that choose to play a little bit more on the back foot, but are waiting for your mistake, or are there waiting and they know they're going to nick the ball off you because you're too slow and you're taking your time and you're not proactive and you're not direct, you're making life easier for them in that scenario. And that is something that I don't think helps us whatsoever. So that's something I think Maresca needs to pay attention to. But also, when it comes to the players and the selection, we know we've had the whole thing about rotation. We need stability. We need to be able to rotate the players that need it, that can't manage playing game in, game out, understandably. But the ones that can should still be picked, should still be on the pitch. So when it comes to now, Atalanta, Champions League, starting 11, I feel we have to go with something familiar. And right now, we need to keep going with something familiar and only change the players that really need to be changed. Because it's not helping. Just constant changing of unnecessary changes. Which I feel like against Bournemouth, he actually did rectify. But that's in terms of the selection. Then comes the way that we play. And that's my other issue that we've raised and where I think we could have done something against Bournemouth, but we just actively didn't. So, who's going to play tomorrow is the question. Bearing in mind that we also have to think about Everton on the weekend. And that's going to be a hard one. Now, personally, I'm more worried about the Everton game than I am Atalanta. And I know that's not just me. I know that's many of you as well. Because Everton right now are in form. They're strong. They've got a very good dynamic going on. They're happy, I think, against a team like us, much like they did against Man United at Old Trafford, to not really have much of the ball. But when they do, they go at it. So, I'm keeping my eye on Everton. Because I think they've got enough blitz and enough power in order to hit when you least expect it and actually cause a threat. Atalanta tomorrow, I have to be honest, I'm expecting a little bit of an easier day at the office compared to what Everton might do on the weekend. And why? Just because right now they're not in good form, but the way that they've been playing in Serie A, in Italy, you bring that against, I think, any Premier League team, you're going to have a tough day, right? It's as simple as that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of space to go into. I feel like they're not going to be as compact or as solid or hard to break down. I think we'll break them down. Then it just comes to us taking our chances. That's another story. Are we going to put our chances to bed or are we not? But I think we will have a lot of chances tomorrow. And I think we're going to be quite dominant, and I do expect us to get a result here. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that you're out of the woods. Because if you remember, Liverpool went to Frankfurt and won 5-1 and came back to England, and what happened? Started getting killed by everybody again. This is the thing. I feel like the Premier League teams, at least physically, are just miles and miles ahead of many of these other teams that are currently in the Champions League, and I feel like tomorrow's going to be an example of that. When you start getting to the latter stages and you're playing against big teams that actually just have quality, that's a different story. But physically, I think we're going to be too much for Atalanta. So when we go to the starting 11, what are we going to do? I've told you the team news, but the rest of the team have travelled, including Wesley Fofana. So without further ado, let's jump into starting 11. Now, I've gone with, let me bring this across here so that I can actually see in the same direction as you. There we are. Sanchez in goal, and he's been playing brilliant. I mean, so far, I think out of everyone, right, he is the most consistent player I think we've got right now. Okay. That's maybe taking it too far. Bearing in mind, Caicedo's consistent, Cucurella's consistent, Reece is consistent. You get the gist. But based on the poor performance against Bournemouth, Sanchez was the one guy that was actually having a really good game. Man of the match. So that's where I say, as of late, super consistent. Defense, the back four, picks itself. And right now, this back four plays against Everton as well. Against Bournemouth, we got a clean sheet. Now, I'm not praising that, I'll be honest, because the way that we went about that entire game, nothing happened. How the hell do you want to get, where do you want a goal to come from? Do you know what I mean? Nothing happened. Even Bournemouth, like I said, just didn't do much. No one did anything. So I don't feel like it was the hardest game to get a clean sheet in, I'll be honest. But, the couple of saves Sanchez did make. Overall, though, Fofana and Chalobah did record themselves another clean sheet. They start, for me, Reece James and Cucurella in the back line. Apologies. Before coming on here, I swear I sneezed like 15 times. It was one of those ones, but I've got to record. So you're going to get me feeling a little bit, congested. But Caicedo returns. He's in the starting 11. Enzo next to him. Now, there's a debate on Enzo at the moment as to whether he should maybe be rested for this game. I feel like this game is too important. He has to play. Caicedo, Enzo, together. Now, Cole Palmer is not playing. I am not going to play Buonanotte against Atalanta. This isn't the Conference League, with all due respect. Esteval comes in and plays in the 10. Pedro Neto on the right, Garnacho on the left. That's enough balance that we need. Pedro Neto is vital as well. And up top, we're limited now. João Pedro, normally we can say, yeah, play in the 10 then. No. João Pedro goes up front. And if something needs to be changed, Margu comes on. End of story. And look, we do have the option of sticking Pedro Neto up front if we have to. But again, that's a very systematic decision that isn't going to work against everyone. I think a lot of people are in the mindset of, oh, that worked against Barca, just do it against everybody then. No, that's not how football works. Yeah, that was done for a specific reason against a very specific Barcelona high line. If you're playing against a lower block, it's void. Unless you're getting ball to feet and you're just relying on his shooting. That's it. Now, can Neto strike the ball? I say we don't see it enough. He should. I think he can strike the ball. He's proven he can. He should do it more. But this is the whole thing. Up front against Barcelona, though, it was all about the press. It was all about the aggression. And it was all about getting over and around that high line in order to create chances and be on the end of them. So that's not going to happen tomorrow. So forget it. João Pedro starts. There will be times in the season where we might need it. With Liam Delap out for 8 weeks, we might need Neto in that scenario. So don't rule it out. I'm just saying, that's not the be-all and end-all. So let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree? But this, ladies and gentlemen, is my starting 11. Now, prediction. I want to say What did I say on shootout? I'm not going to say because that's coming out tomorrow. But I'm going to give you guys my prediction here. I don't know if it's the same or if it's different. I feel like I might have said something different. We did predict loads of games, to be honest. So, but I am going to say Atalanta 0, Chelsea 2. Or 3. 2. 2-0 Chelsea. That's that. And I'll be honest, if something goes wrong tomorrow, well, we got big problems. Simple as that. If something goes wrong tomorrow, we have something to talk about. Simple as that. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully back on track, and hopefully heads high, ready for the weekend against Everton, and hopefully back into some rhythm. But I do want to stress, I need Maresca. I'm not saying don't have a system, don't be disciplined, don't be reserved at times, don't be defensive at times. I understand. You need balance. You need balance between defending and attacking. When it comes to defending and the shape and everyone's work rate and tracking back and getting stuck in and closing the lines and making it compact and defending well as a block and as a unit, I completely agree and understand that. But when attacking and getting the ball past the halfway line and now you're relying on your final third, let the shackles off. Let the shackles off. We don't need to be so systemized around the box. Do you know what I mean? I feel like when we're around the box, there's still patterns that we're trying to get. Like screw the patterns. We're close to the goal. The goal's right there. Can we do something to score? Do you know what I mean? I know that makes it sound very simple, but sometimes you got to go back to basics. We have enough individual quality. João Pedro is a very technical player. Garnacho is a technical player. Neto is a technical player with physicality, but more physical than technical, but you get the gist, right? He can be quick when he wants. Esteval, super technical player. Cole Palmer, super technical player. We've got, he's not playing tomorrow, but you get the gist. We have ballers there. Enzo, when he gets himself involved, additional body, able to pass and distribute. When we get into the final third, there should be enough there to get combinations going, to get spaces opened, to get quick feet on the ball going, to get quick thinking, and to get quick shots off and quick goals. We take too much time sometimes and we go at the extra touch and the extra mile and then we go backwards and then we go around and then we're getting them in place again and we try and make it through again and it's harder for ourselves and then we flop and then we try and cross the ball and there's no one in and it goes for a goal kick. Like it's just, that needs to, sometimes we get to the final third. Lads, figure out between yourselves. You're all super skillful. Use your gifts. Use your skills, right? Now, based on the play on the team that we're playing, yes, you can identify weaknesses. Where's the weakness in that defense? Who should we attack? Who should we go at? What side is preferable? Do we go through? Is there a defender that has a weak spot maybe on which side, on which shoulder is weaker? Hey, all these things matter. And this is a matter of the coaching staff from Maresca, absolutely. But to try and almost like make it look like we're trying to systemize our way to score, you know, where it's like, okay, the pass has to be made there and the run has to be made there and the pass has to be made there and then you have to shoot from only there and not there is bonkers. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it feels like we are too robotic when we're near the box. We need to be a bit more fluid. And I hope tomorrow is the start of that. That's all I ask, because everything else I feel like is in place. It's just that where I feel like we have the opportunities to kill off games earlier and score more, and we're not. So let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. And I'll catch all of you on the watch along tomorrow as well. Well, like I've said, all the content that was dropped on Shootout today, go and watch, right? Much appreciated. Link to Shootout is in the description. And tomorrow, Champions League predictions for all the English teams. Make sure you're there. And the watch-along for Atalanta-Chelsea. And we are going to keep an eye on every other game that's going on at the same time. Is tomorrow on Shootout too. And the match review straight after on here. So make sure you guys are at both places. Much appreciated. And I'll catch you then. Have a good one. Look after yourselves. Take care. And peace.